Hey guys, welcome back to the Dialed In podcast. This is the low equity edition. Today we have Amber back again after last week's incredible performance, and we also have Plamen. Ladies first, Amber, tell us a little bit about yourself for those who missed last week's. And also, before you say anything, I highly encourage you guys, if you haven't watched Amber's calls last week, watch those after this. It's absolutely incredible, the transformation she makes in about 45 minutes or so. Amber, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, my name is Amber. I'm in South Orlando, Florida, which is very cold right now. But anyway, I digress. I've been in real estate for quite a little while, a few years of experience, and I've landed into a place of wanting to build communities for older, mature women. Think Golden Girls type of homes for women who need affordable housing, don't want to live by themselves, but aren't ready to go into assisted living or any of those. So just a community of women that are able to live together over a common theme. They're independent. And so it's something I'm really passionate about, and looking for those that are also interested in that space. You might have a passion and want to do so as well.
Have you bought the domain yet?
Yes.
Okay, good.
I follow instructions, Mike. I follow instructions.
I mean, it was more of a suggestion than anything else. Don't take them as instruction by any means. But what domain did you settle on?
Golden Girls Communities.
.com, right?
.com.
Great job. Awesome. Glad to have you back.
Thank
Plamen,
you.
tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me. Beautiful Amber. My name is Plamen. I live in South Central Pennsylvania, very close to the Maryland border. I am actually in a different aspect than Amber. I am starting my real estate journey. I started this about a year ago, and I'm still in the learning stages and trying to honestly just hone in my sales skills and approach every situation with good communication and good relationship building skills. The reason why I wanted to embark on this journey is I know that I can provide solutions to people, and I've had so many people help me in my life get to the point where I want to be. I want to provide those kind of solutions and answers to people, even if they're not, in a major problem. But I would just like to be there for someone, give them a hand, and let them know that it's all going to be okay, and we can get through it together. So with that, very excited to be here. Very excited to.
He's excited, guys. Very, very excited. Sorry, Plamen, you froze for a second, so I decided to fill 2 seconds of time. You're good.
Sorry.
Nope, we got you back. Well, welcome. Thanks so much for joining us. So let's do this. Like I said, we worked with Amber last week. We kind of know her goals, her mission, that sort of thing. You're brand new to real estate, it sounds like, right? You're only about a year or so in. Tell me what you want this to look like a year from now, 5 years from now. Do you have any idea of that yet, or do you need more time to figure that out?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, a year from now, I would like to definitely be able to do everything on my own and start this entrepreneurial journey. I don't have a very specific niche that I'm focusing on, like Amber. My goal is to honestly just start this journey for myself and see what it's like to own a business, never have experience with that, or be in this real estate world. So that's it for me. Just kind of start and go through it. 5 years from now, definitely would love to be a prominent business owner and have a whole amazing team around me that we work together and solve problems together.
Very cool. I can tell that I'm frozen as well. I apologize, guys. let's do this. Let's just dive right in. As always, we're sponsored by RocketBotLeads.ai. The advantage, of course, using RocketBot Leads is that they get the data a whole lot quicker than everyone else does, and the conversations change pretty dramatically, especially with the agents that have yet to have a low equity deal on market. So if you guys ever want to explore the opportunity to work with RocketBotLeads.ai, there I'm going to include a coupon code in the description as well as on the ticker here to get 20% off your first month. Amber and Plamen, you guys do me a quick favor and start calling. Amber, if you could unmute yours. Plamen, if you can mute yours just for the time being while I log out and then log back in. And Plamen, if you get on a phone call, unmute yourself. Let's hear the phone calls and we'll provide you guys with feedback after each call. Sound good?
Perfect.
Great. I will be right back.
Plamen, you received the list.
I did, correct. Which
If you want to start on top, you want to start on top and I'll start on bottom?
Yeah, that's okay with me.
Perfect.
Yeah, let's do it.
Mike, Plamen is starting on the top of the list and I'm starting on the bottom.
Perfect. I love it. Plamen, since you're new to this data, what you'll notice is that we have all the information there, all the contact information on the sheet itself. The last three columns are pretty important. They're equity is a dollar amount, and then cash to seller after all traditional types of fees are paid at closing. So you'll see that if they sold the property at today's asking price compared to what they currently owe on it, that's what they would walk away with if you take out 8% in total costs, commissions, that sort of thing.
Okay, cool.
So you can also reference that too in the conversations. That's really helpful.
And then just to make sure I am aware of like the purpose of the call, let's say I get to a point where I don't like have the answers they're looking for, should I just say that like you're gonna reach out to them, like, or should I just vaguely mention them here?
Have your partner Amber give them a call back. Okay. She can be your partner today.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, absolutely. If you get to a point of discomfort or you don't know, defer, pass off. You don't want to say something you're not sure of, right?
Yeah, for sure.
All right, guys, as Amber and Plamen are calling, I hope all of you guys are staying warm. I'm here in Austin. I know that I don't look great today. It's been pretty difficult the past couple days or so here. We actually ran out of heat at our house. I guess when they replaced our AC about 8 months ago, they forgot to connect the furnace. And here in Texas, we have very, very hot summers and sometimes very cold winters. So it's 55 degrees in the house. So I apologize for looking the way that I look. I hope that doesn't affect us today on our phone calls. By the way, if you guys can in the comments, I'm curious if you guys are receiving benefit from these sorts of calls. If you guys are, please let me know in the chat. If there's a way for us to add more value, please let me know that as well. We always want to make sure that the time we're using here is valuable time. And the direct to agent kind of avenue, which is my space, I feel really comfortable in that space. I want to make sure that I'm providing as much value to you guys in relation to direct agent as I possibly can. So If there's anything that I can be doing better, please, please, please let me know.
Are we triple dialing and then sending a text, or do we just move on?
Feel free to do whatever you like. Whatever you think is going to get the best response rate, do that.
Okay.
What I tend to do is I just go down the list with one phone call. Typically, if I'm doing this by myself, I'll leave a message or send a text and say, hey, this is Mike. Give me a call back when you get the chance. I'm calling about 123 Main Street. Feel free to do whatever you like. This data, by the way, is all yours, Plamen, okay? So use it however you see fit.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Hey, Sherry, this is Amber. I was giving you a call about Easy Goer Street.
Oh, hi. Oh, I didn't get that.
I am doing well. How are you doing today?
Good. How can I help you?
Oh, sure. So I saw this listing just recently came on market, and I wanted to reach out because I'm currently a buyer for properties. I have mission-oriented properties. I do like a Golden Girls theme type of a house. Are you familiar with the Golden Girls?
Yes.
Thank you for being a friend.
Right.
Yes. So the need here is that I know a lot of ladies who are older in age and they want to live in a community. They need affordable housing. However, they're very independent. They don't need assisted living and all of those levels of types of care. And so what I'm doing is I'm in Orlando, Florida, and I'm also working in the Jacksonville all the way down area. And I wanted to see if you might, I don't know if this particular property, Easy Goer, would be a property for this type of a theme, but maybe you have other listings or have something that could work.
Well, right now I'm just getting back into real estate after taking a year off, and this is my first listing. I wouldn't think it would be ideal for elderly people with everything being upstairs,
Ah, yes.
Yeah, so no, I can keep your number and let you know.
Please
I hear
do.
something.
Can I ask you, Sherry, do you see this type of need in your area? Do you know of people?
No, I mean, Sarasota is very wealthy. Of course, you have poor people. I mean, there's a lot of young people that are looking for roommates.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Mm-hmm.
But as far as elderly people,
mm-hmm.
No, I don't.
Okay, well, I appreciate that. I'm just looking for that as well, because if there's a need, then it makes sense to fill it as well. But yes, please save my number. Is this your cell phone?
Yes.
I'm going to send you a text message with my information. That way it will, you can save it in there and you know who I am. And then if it's all right with you, I'll reach out maybe in a few weeks or so and just see how this Easy Goer Street is going. And then see as well, you might have something else in mind.
Okay, sure. I would like to look into what you're offering.
Yes.
Or looking for.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate your time today, Sherry.
You're welcome. You take care.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
Good job. I love their response after you say Golden Girls, right? What it does from my standpoint. Remember the word that I used when you made your first phone call last week? How I felt about your phone call?
You said you were frustrated.
Frustrated, right. This call is so much simpler, right? What happens is you start to talk about the Golden Girls thing and then they just drop, right? It's like pressure's off. No pressure, especially for a property that she doesn't feel is a great fit. And that's okay. What ways do you think that you could connect with that agent based on what she said or property attributes? What ways do you think that you could connect with the agent on that phone call specifically?
Well,
start with location first.
And she did mention she's in Sarasota.
And where are you?
I'm in Orlando.
Exactly. You guys are both in Florida, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's always a good opportunity. The one thing you told me, actually you told an agent last time, was Florida is God's waiting room, right? Mm-hmm. Now you may not want to bring that up, especially with an older type of agent, if you hear that kind of, voice, but what you could say is, we've had a lot of friends, family friends, people move down to Florida just because of the lifestyle as they get advanced in age. And so we're really seeing a need up here in Orlando for this type of thing. Are you seeing the same thing down there in Sarasota? You're kind of layering that rapport building, right? She's brand new into real estate again, sort of, right? She's kind of coming back into real estate. So let me ask you a question. Would you ever, if you had the opportunity to, and you can make $5,000 to $10,000 on a deal, would you ever wholesale a sub-2 deal?
Me personally?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. What I want you to do then is think about that phone call that you just had, and if the house that you're calling on isn't a specific perfect fit for a Golden Girls type of thing, what other ways could you do to pivot the conversation so that you can possibly address the sub-2 opportunity on the home? Because what you don't want to do is say, do you think that this would be a good fit for Golden Girls? Them say no, and then for the conversation to stop, right? What you want to do is say something like, I know that this may not be a good fit for a Golden Girls type of home. I would love to work with you if you ever come across these kinds of opportunities in your market. However, I have a couple friends who might be looking for a rental down in Sarasota. Can you tell me a little bit more about this? And then that's when you can kind of dive into, hey, just out of curiosity, have you been approached yet with an opportunity for someone to come in and possibly take over payments on this house? It looks like there's not a ton of equity in it. Something along those lines. Now that's really vague. And the agent's going to have a response like, well, what the hell do you mean? If she doesn't understand, especially since she's new back in real estate again. But that's going to open up the conversation of, yeah, this is how we purchase homes. I work with a lot of people who are looking for homes down in Sarasota. Is there an opportunity here for us to work together?
I love
Just
that.
Think about every opportunity, every phone call as an opportunity for a relationship, a deal, whatever it is.
Amazing.
All right, Plamen, tell me about your phone calls so far. Have you gotten a hold of anyone?
if the listing agent is different than the agent that we have on the spreadsheet with a different number, who do I call?
Where are you finding that different agent?
Well, I just typed in the address on Zillow, and the agent's name that's on the spreadsheet is different from the one listed.
Got it. Then try the one that you're seeing on your side of it.
Okay, sweet.
Hey, Paige. This is Amber. I was giving you a call about Silver Glen Drive. How are you today?
Hey, I'm sorry. I thought you were another realtor. I was waiting for a phone call. How are you?
Oh, that's funny. I was like, I think, does she know me?
No, sorry. I thought your number was like literally almost the same.
Oh, that's funny. Okay. Yeah, I was just calling you about the property I saw that listing. Yes. So I wanted to give you a call. I'm over in South Orlando, but I invest in homes, and I'm looking to do like a theme, and I'm not sure if this would work with this house, but I wanted to tell you about the theme, and maybe you have another listing or you know of something that would work. But are you familiar with the Golden Girls theme?
No.
Did you ever see that show, Golden Girls?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I'm doing is I'm doing homes with that theme of independent women who want to live together, kind of need more affordable housing, but they're not so advanced that they need assisted living.
Okay.
And so I was looking at this house on Silver Glen Drive, and then just wondering if this would work out for that, or if you possibly had any other homes that you have listed that could.
I mean, I don't really, I mean, what's the requirement, or like, what is this, some type of like creative financing, or what is this?
Oh, I would love to do creative financing all day long. Do you get a lot of those deals?
No, I know I don't ever recommend them for my customers. Usually the type of customers that I'm having, they're not offering that. This one's not either. So, but anyways, I mean, if you want to, I don't really know what you're asking me essentially, but I'm at lunch right now, so I'm with my son. So if you want to email me, or if you're interested in making an offer or wanting to see it, just let me know.
Oh, sure. Appreciate that. Is this your cell phone I can text you on?
Yeah.
All right.
Perfect.
Amazing. Having a good lunch with your son.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, so let's dive into that for a second here a little bit, right? First off, Plamen, did you hear anything from Amber's phone call that you liked, maybe that she can improve on? Can you provide her with any feedback?
I only heard the middle and beginning and the end, because I was trying to reach an agent at the same time. But it seemed like I think the girl, when you were explaining your passion and your Golden Girls theme, seemed like she was like in a rush and was trying to get off the phone quickly, and was trying to. It seemed like it was she was giving you like a signal to like get like straight to the point. And that's honestly all I caught. And then I caught the end where she just told you to send you an offer.
Yeah, so she was afraid of creative finance, right? You can tell that she's been approached by creative finance investors before. One of my responses to that, every time I hear that from an agent, is, oh, it's so great to connect with an agent who's actually experienced something like this before. Tell me a little bit more about your experience with creative finance. It sounds like you have plenty. What do you think, Amber, she's going to say in response to that specific agent? What do you think she's going to say?
Based on what she said, she's going to say, oh, no, like, I've had people reach out and want to do that, but it just doesn't work. Right.
And my follow-up to that would be, have you ever done a deal like that? It sounds like you've done a lot. And what I really am trying, you can kind of tell by my phrasing, what I'm trying to get her to say is, no, we've never done something like that. because of whatever reason, right? What I'm basically trying to do there is find the bunnies. Why isn't she recommending that her clients consider something like this? It could be for a very good reason, right? But what is that reason? Does it make sense? So, we talk a lot about in the low equity calling of agents, at least, we talk a lot about the difference between calling sellers and calling agents, and then how it relates to the 4 pillars, right? And in direct to seller, 4 pillars are super important. For direct to agents, you don't really need that. Maybe there's a little bit of a different version of that. So instead of maybe the 4 pillars, can we get into the mind of the agent? And can we also get into the motivation for the seller? The motivation for the seller is a little bit important. It's going to guide our conversation just a little bit. But understanding the agent's response or how they feel about creative finance is really important. And so I like to always dive into that. So Plamen, are you on a phone call?
No, I've been listening to you guys.
Okay, cool. So let's have a quick little conversation here. I'm curious how you would handle this. Let's say that I am the agent and you're trying to figure out how experienced I am with creative finance. What are some questions you could ask?
Agent that are experienced with creative finance. Yeah, for sure.
And what we're trying to determine is their experience level. Okay. That's all we're trying to figure out right now.
Okay, well, I think the most basic question is, Mike, tell me about it. Have you ever worked with a creative finance deal like this before?
Love it. Great question. And there are about 50 different versions you can make of the same kind of question, right? Hey, what's been your experience with creative finance deals in the past? Have you worked with sellers who are interested in this type of thing before? All of these kinds of questions are all in the same vein, right? What we're trying to figure out here is what the agent's experience is and then what their opinions are of it. Because the way that we pivot the conversation is largely dependent on their opinion of creative finance. So, let's dig into that a little bit on our phone calls. Let's just try to say something like, based on what I've told you about the way that we purchase homes, have you ever done a transaction like that before? Yes or no? Most likely it's going to be no. If it's a no, what I like to do at that point is pivot to, if we could pay the closing costs, if we could give the seller their asking price, do you think that type of an offer would make sense for your sellers? We're kind of poking just a little bit, right, to try to figure out where their mindset is at. All right, let's incorporate that into our phone calls a little bit and see where that goes.
All right, great, yeah. Hi, can I talk?
Today might be a tough day, right, for phone calls. Let's do this. Let's keep trying. Hopefully we can get on one more phone call. If we can't, what we'll do is we'll spend 10 minutes or so talking a little bit more about the equivalent of the 4 pillars with direct to agent, and see if we can really benefit our phone calls by talking about that. Let's give it 5 more minutes. Let's see if we can get it on another phone call.
It sounds good. Trying my best and getting lots of voicemails.
All you can do is dial, right? That's all you can do.
Exactly. Yeah, usually I would time to text them and be like, hey, reach out to me. I'm just trying to get someone.
Yeah, I do the same. In fact, my workflow in my CRM is if I can't get a hold of them, it automatically sends them a text and says, hey, I'm calling about 123 Main Street. Give me a call back when you get the chance, or when's a good time for me to give you a call.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's a good thing about using CRMs.
Mm-hmm.
Candace?
Hey, Kansas, this is Amber. I was just giving you a call. I saw a house come on the market on Grave Street.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, so calling because I'm working on purchasing a home. And are you familiar real quick with like the Golden Girls show?
Yes, ma'am.
That show back in the day? So what I was wanting to do is I'm over in the Orlando area, South Orlando, and I've got a few ladies that they want to live together and they need affordable housing, but they are not in the not able to do assisted living yet. They're still very independent. And so I was looking at homes in the area, and I came across yours. So looking at that, do you think that this house would be a good fit for that?
Well, I don't know what, your clients, or are you a realtor, or are you just a friend looking, or that way I address you appropriately?
Sure. No, I'm a buyer.
Okay, so you're buying.
Yes.
With another, okay. So I don't know what type of living situation you want, or, it's a split floor plan. So 2 bedrooms on one side, master suites on the other.
Mm-hmm.
We can always schedule a time to look at it.
Okay. You said the split floor plan.
Yeah.
So 1 story.
Yep, it's a 1-story home.
Okay. Also, do you happen to maybe have any other properties that would also fit this type of model, like 1 story, multiple bedrooms, that could be a rental?
Absolutely. There's lots of different properties out there, just depending on,
The needs.
the size and location and all of that good stuff. But yes, there's definitely houses available.
Absolutely. Okay. Is this your cell phone?
It is.
Perfect. Can I text you my info and then take a further look on this house?
Of course.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Candace. I'll be in touch.
Okay, you are welcome. Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
I love this call. That's okay. Love this call. Plamen, tell me a little bit about were you able to listen to that call at all?
Yeah, I got the whole thing this time.
Okay, talk to me. Give Amber some feedback on that call if you don't mind.
Yeah, I loved it as well. I really liked how you were your tone was very calm and certain, and when you explained like what you were looking for, I think she kind of even like understood it, like that you were like representing people. So maybe you kind of built that like authority and credibility, I think right away. And even the fact that you were able to get her to be like kind of change the topic and be like, well, what kind of like other properties do you have that I can make this happen as well? And she's like, yeah, I have a lot more. I can love to help you. So I think it was a very, very good like intro call to a good relationship with this agent.
Amber, what did you think of the call?
Well, I felt chaotic, that I lost myself in what I was doing. And then I was leading, and then all of a sudden I was like, what do you think? Would this be a good property? Like, what am I doing here? Is what I felt like.
Yeah.
And I felt this way also on the last call too, where I'm having a problem with bridging the gap of, I'm calling you about this property, but this property might not work for me, as we've been discussing. This is what I do. Like, I don't know, when I'm getting on the call, it's like,
So think of every single call as providing you with data, right? Now, it's one thing if one agent, for example, says something like, well, I don't really know yet what you're doing. Or if two people say the same thing, right? And I think both of those agents said something that was similar to, well, I need to understand what your model is a little bit more, right? So digest that, right? And adjust. And so what that's telling me is that we're not clear enough in our message, right? So we need to be super clear on our message, what exactly we're doing, who we are as a part of the transaction. So I wrote down a couple of things here. Clarity on mission is a super, super important thing specifically for you. Okay, and you might actually want to change your intro a little bit with regard to how you introduce it, depending on who you're talking to, right? If you sense that you're calling like a Harriet, Harriet agent as opposed to a Brittany agent, what that tells me is Brittany's a lot younger, Harriet's older, right? So maybe you can kind of find a way to connect with Harriet in a little bit of a different way than you can with Brittany. Brittany's going to appreciate it just as much, but Harriet's going to feel it. Brittany's going to be like, oh, that's 50 years down the line. That's 2 husbands down the line. That's a joke. But, Harriet's actually going to go, okay, I'm of that age. I understand a little bit better. So what I would do is work specifically on your pitch. So can I spitball one and just see how it all goes? Now, I like to do this because I'm on the spot. I like to hear kind of what comes out, because some stuff you're going to want to be like, hell no, I would never say that. Something might be like, holy smokes, I should use that. Sometimes. It's like, sometimes. Okay, so let me call you, Amber. You be the agent. So ring, ring.
hello.
Hey, Amber, my name is Mike. How you doing?
I'm doing good, Mike. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. I was calling about a listing that I recently saw you post on the MLS, is the one on 123 Main Street. The reason that this one caught my eye is because what I do is I purchase homes, and it's typically, you would call it a co-living type of model, but for independent older ladies. And I've kind of coined it the Golden Girls theme, if you will. And so I wanted to reach out to you and see if this one might be potentially a good opportunity for me. I'm looking to buy a few in the Sarasota market this month. And so, if this one doesn't work, I'm also curious if there's any way that we can possibly work together on buying other homes that would be a really good fit for this. Can you tell me a little bit about this home itself?
That was awesome.
Keep going. Let's stay in role play for a sec.
All right. Well, this particular home, I could see it being a fit for elderly people for sure. It has multiple bedrooms. It's a one-story home, so no stairs involved. What else are you looking for?
So typically, obviously a one-story is going to be a little bit of a better fit. We're not opposed to doing two-story. It really just kind of depends on the population that we're housing. But we'll look at both. So it's nice that this one's one-story. I think it's going to attract more potential tenants in the long run. So that's great. Tell me a little bit more about the neighborhood. Is there an HOA in the neighborhood?
On this particular home, no. It's no HOA. It is an older neighborhood, lots of oak trees, for instance, and there's they're on like quarter-acre lots, so you don't have houses stacked upon each other.
Mm-hmm. That's really nice. It's kind of like that up here in Orlando where I live, too. It's nice to have a little bit of that space. What we're doing, and I know that I kind of told you a little bit about what we're doing before, but just to dive a little bit deeper, I live up here in Orlando, as I just mentioned. We're looking to buy more and more homes in the Florida market. As you're probably aware, there's a larger mature independent population in Florida than some of the other states. And so we're just trying to find really cool ways to bring community of mature independent ladies into a single home, into multiple homes. And so, just out of curiosity, one of the ways that we do purchase these types of homes is by taking over the payments that are already in place. So it looks to me like the mortgage on this is pretty close to the asking price. Is that right?
It is. Look, is this a creative finance thing going on? Is that what you're looking for?
A lot of people coin it with different terms. Sometimes people call it creative finance. Some people call it other things. That's one of the ways that we purchase. So I'm not excluding myself from buying conventionally. I would love to purchase creatively. Have you ever done a transaction like that before?
No. And I don't recommend any of my sellers to do this.
Interesting. Tell me more.
Well, I don't know. It just taking over the payments. It's still stuck inside. My seller is still at risk, and I don't want to pass that on. I don't feel that I'm doing my fiduciary rights to helping them.
That's a totally fair point. I absolutely understand. In fact, if I were in the seller's shoes at this point, I probably wouldn't even be considering something like this. The reason that I bring it up to you, Amber, is because I noticed that based on some calculations that I did, and I don't know if my information is correct or not, usually it's pretty close. It looks to me like after paying closing costs and commissions, that the sellers aren't really walking away with a whole lot of money. And so I'm curious, what type of activity have you guys seen on this list? I know that you're brand new on market, but do you have scheduled showings? Do you have an open house this weekend?
No, not as of yet. We're about 2 days on market. And so, but in this area, it's an older area. So I don't think that we're going to have a problem.
Good. And I hope that's the case. Like I said, if I were in the seller's shoes, I wouldn't even be considering this sort of, let's call it creative finance option at this point. But if you guys do ever get to the point where you do want to consider it, and a lot of the times, the types of agents, the types of sellers that we're working with are representing or own properties that may either be high price for the market, or for whatever reason, they're not getting the kind of traction that they're hoping for. And so they have to continue to lower the price to gain interest from potential buyers. A lot of the times we can step in, we can pay full market value. We can pay your commission, which is going to maximize the seller's equity at the time of close. And we're going to pay all of the closing costs, if I didn't say that already. And so if you guys do ever get to the point where you're considering something like this, I know that this is fresh for you, it's something you haven't really experienced, let me just explain to you how it could work so that maybe your sellers just get another option. Is that fair?
That's fair.
Okay. So let's do this. I know that you guys are brand new on the market, and I wouldn't consider something like this yet either. So no worries, no pressure whatsoever. But in about 10 days or 2 weeks or so, you're going to start to get a lot of activity just based on the data that we pulled from people like me who are going to ask you similar questions. Would it be okay if I sent you over a list of maybe the 4 or 5 things that I would want to make sure are included in this type of a transaction and that we include in all of ours, so that even if you don't work with me, but you do go this route, that you're safely protected and your sellers are as well? Would that be okay with you?
Yeah, that would work.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to shoot this off to you right now. What I'll do next week is I'll just follow up with you and just kind of check in, see how things are going. I hope what you do is you tell me to hang up because you've got so many offers on the property that you don't really even need me at this point. But I do want to touch base with you and just say hello and also talk about other potential opportunities if that's okay with you.
Yes, that would be great.
Okay, cool. Okay, cool. Did I say anything there that you picked up on that you want to include? And by the way, you can say no, wouldn't be offended. Is there anything there that I said, you too, Plamen, that you might see benefit in communicating on your phone calls?
Yeah, the one thing for me that stuck out right away was when she was saying that about how she was putting her guard up about creative finance, and literally all you said was interesting, tell me more. And then that got her explaining everything more, and then that led you into your understanding of that objection, and then figuring out how to maneuver through that way. And I think at that point, like you were able to get to her just understanding of why she was of why she maybe is or is not like willing to do this, and then that allowed you to just like create your control the conversation, honestly. So that's what one thing stood out to me. And then you were always asking questions at the end of all your statements. You're like, is that fair? Does that sound good?
Yeah, I don't. The questions that I should be asking at the end of my statements should be much more open-ended than they were there. I found myself asking closed-ended questions, also asking for approval too much, which I don't really like. So I would probably rate that cold call lower for me for those reasons. Ideally what I'd want to do is get her talking more. And then what that's going to allow me to do is respond accordingly based on what she's told me, what her objections are. It sounds like it's a trust issue, right? They're concerned about what happens if. That's a trust issue. Now, I don't want to presume that or assume that, but I do want to get it out of her and then use that not to my advantage, but also kind of just pivot it a little bit. Hey, this is becoming a lot more common in today's market just because what we're seeing, these rising interest rates, and we had lower interest rates before, and also property values really haven't seen the type of appreciation that we were hoping to see in the past 3, 4, 5 years. And so there are a lot of people who just don't have a lot of equity. And so this is a way that your seller possibly could maximize it if you so choose. One thing I want to point out, Amber, on that one specifically is I always want to tell them that this is what I do instead of this is what I want to do. So in your case, when you explain what your model is, I would just say, this is what I do, or this is what we do. We're looking to pick up a few more in that area. And then dive into this property, right? Don't yet take this one off the table. Can you tell me a little bit about this one? Let's see if this might be a good fit for what we're looking for. And if not, let's talk about how we can work together so that you can bring me other homes that I can purchase specifically for this model.
Awesome.
All right, guys, good?
Yes, thank you. I kind of put you on the heated seat. I was like, well, they just gave me that objection, so I'm going to give it to you. What would you say in this?
I wanted it. I wanted you to tell me that. So thank you for doing it, because, did you guys ever play sports as kids or now?
Yeah.
What my coaches always told me is that the practices were always going to be more difficult than the games. So that I'm prepared for the games, and so the games feel easy. So in my role plays, what I want to do is I want every single objection to be thrown at me, the hardest ones you can possibly imagine, so I'm prepared when they're actually asked of me in the game. So whenever you guys are role playing, throw the hardest things at people and see how they respond. And then also listen back to your own and adjust, right? Because every single role play you've ever done, every single call I've made, we've all wanted to change something, right? To improve on it. Plamen, have you ever had a perfect phone call?
No, absolutely not.
Trump's had perfect phone calls. He says that a lot. It's a perfect call. But listen, this is all about reps. The more reps, the better. You guys now take that data, call on it, and see what you guys can get going. And if you guys do get something going, feel free to work together, work independently, work with other people, work with me, whatever you guys want to do. I'm always here for you, okay?
Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, guys. So, Plamen, next time you come on, let's get you on a phone call. Amber, great job as always. You hammer those phones. I love it. In fact, I looked up, by the way, when you're on your first phone call, thank you for being a friend.com. I was going to buy it for you, but it's taken.
I know.
Okay.
I looked that one up too.
Yeah, it's expensive too. All right, guys. Have a great rest of your day. All of you guys who are watching, thank you so much for watching. Always appreciate your support. Plamen, if people want to reach out to you, how can they reach out to you directly?
On Facebook, I think my Facebook name is just my first and last name, Browne and Kaparov. Send me a DM. Be happy to talk further, get to know each other, and become friends.
Plamen, where's your name from? What country?
Yeah, great question. I'm from Bulgaria. My parents, I was born there, and then my parents immigrated to America when I was 2 years old. So
very cool.
I've grown up in America, don't have much of an accent, but yeah, definitely still fluent in Bulgarian.
That's amazing. That's awesome. An awesome skill to have.
Yes.
Amber, how can people reach out to you if they want to work with you?
On Instagram, I am oneday1change_Amber. And you'll be able to also reach out to me on goldengirlscommunities.com.
All right, guys. Great job today. We'll see you guys next time.
See ya.